Hey everyone, welcome back to Path of Exile, and in today's content we are gonna break the mold and tackle some challenge completion. My goal this league was to hit 36 challenges because for the first time ever we have a hideout as the reward instead of a portal or a back attachment. Since I don't really care about the totem, I figured a quick little guide on 13 challenges will be nice content to put out in between builds and whatnot. Before we begin with this one though, I wanna state 4 things. 1. At the beginning of this little grind, I was sitting at 23 out of 40 challenges. My goal was the hideout, hence why I am focusing on the last 13 challenges. However, I do have a couple of them that require a little bit of brain power to complete, so don't actually think that we are only tackling the easiest stuff. Number 2, the build that you use to complete these challenges doesn't really matter. In fact, I'd say that you go with whatever character or build you happen to find yourself most comfortable with. Having said that, 1 or 2 of these challenges may require you to swap to another character, especially if you need less damage or more control over what's going on in the screen. Number 3, do expect to spend currency achieving some of these challenges. While you can certainly grind your way into all of them by manually farming divination cards, watchstones, boss ritual stuff, etc., it is going to be faster to trade for the materials required to complete the challenges. I am going to take that route for some of these, as you'll see later on, but if you don't want to do that, you can always tackle things in your own manner. And number 4, expect to have some progress achieved for some of the challenges, in the sense that you will unknowingly have done 1 or 2 things for the challenges as you play the game. This is gonna be my case rather often throughout the video, but I will emphasize on the things I haven't done, you know, to help you a bit. Now that we've established that, most of the gameplay you are gonna see is gonna come from my Deadeye Toxic Rain build that I posted a couple of weeks ago. However, I did trade her gear away after I was done with that video, but recently I had the itch to cheese stuff in this game, so I regeared her again. So if you wanna check out the build individually, I've got the PoE of this Deadeye and the video guide linked in the description below. However, for 1 or 2 challenges I am gonna be using my Consecrated Path Chieftain, which was the previous build on the channel. His stuff is also linked on the description below. Anyways, if you are new around here, be sure to subscribe to the channel, otherwise a rating and a comment are always appreciated. And with all of that said, let's tackle some challenges. Alright, so our first challenge is some quest completion. With all honesty, there really isn't much to say here because these are easy to skip if you are rushing through the main acts. Going back and doing them is the only thing that we can do for this one. The next challenge is vendor recipes. I was lacking the life flask, chisel and prismatic ring recipes. Again, very easy challenge to miss, but it is equally as easy to complete. The flask one requires 3 of the same tier, the ring requires 3 different 2-stone rings, and the chisel needs a 20 quality rock breaker and a map. So we are gonna vendor all of it at the same time for an easy challenge completion. The next one is Encounters 3. The majority of these ones can be completed by erasing the map boss before they even have a chance to move, except for the Gorgon one, where we are gonna kill this lizard as we are petrified by her gaze. You know, the laser eyes skill. The problem with this one is that being petrified involves being frozen in place. So to cheese this one, we are gonna use Count Roots to ignore the petrify mechanic. However, you gotta be quick to kill the boss before the debuff runs out. The next challenge is turning in divination cards. I was lacking the Vaal gem turn-in. The easy way out is to trade for those divination cards instead of farming for them. However, do expect to spend some chaos orbs acquiring them, especially seeing as people are fully aware of challenge requirements, and as such, these crappy divination cards have inflated prices due to the demand from challenge completionists. The next challenge is Encounters 4. It requires a completion of 6 out of 8 encounters. Since I had the most progress into Perandus chests, I decided to tackle this one. To make it easier, we can run maps in Lex Aeoris with the Prosperous Promise node, and using both Perandus Scarabs alongside the Harvest infused Perandus craft, we should be getting at least 7 chests per map. Again, relatively easy challenge to complete, but being totally honest, probably one that you'll have completed without really chasing those requirements. The next one on the list is unique map completions. Killing the map boss is the completion requirement. It doesn't really matter what map tier we run for these unique maps, as our only task is defeating the map boss, so this one should be quick. The next challenge is exploring the Atlas. If you map a lot, you probably have this one done, but the easy part to miss of this one is the awakening bonuses, which was my case. If you've got the map stash tab, you can figure out which maps are pending awakening bonus if the second bar under the map is not lit up. If you don't own the map stash tab, then you'll have to manually check on your atlas. Again, the challenge completion involves killing map bosses, so it shouldn't be too hard or grindy to do. The next challenge involves heist activities, a regular contract, a blueprint, a unique contract, and the endgame boss of heist, the twins. For the first two requirements, the level of the contract and blueprint doesn't really matter, so as soon as your rogues are capable of doing stuff, you should commit to doing it. However, for the last two, we are gonna skip the unique contract part and go straight into the twins fight, since the activity itself is a unique contract. Having said that, the twins contract costs roughly 2.5 exalts, or at least it does right now as I record this video. You can skip all the heist quests and tackle them directly, and I know this because that's exactly what I did. The twins fight isn't particularly difficult, as long as you don't get hit. However, from my short experience with this fight, killing one twin makes the other one resilient to damage. Granted, I am sort of cheesing this fight by spamming Toxic Rain while running around the boss, so while I make this look easy, it might not be as simple as the gameplay shows. The following challenge is Ritual Encounters 5. This is where things are gonna get spicy. We need to capture multiple bosses, including Shaper Guardians on rituals. As in, we are gonna kill the map boss in their arena, complete a ritual in their arena, and then use a blood vessel to capture the enemies on the ritual, including the bosses. To successfully complete this challenge, all 4 bosses required per step must be present and defeated on a ritual encounter inside a map. This also means that you need to complete a Legion 4-way in order to unlock the 5th slot on the map device to complete this challenge. The challenge itself is a bit RNG heavy because bosses don't always have a ritual encounter on their arena, and this applies to both the Shaper Guardians and the other map bosses that we are after. You can circumvent this RNG slot machine by trading for the vessels with the specific bosses, but the problem behind doing so is that you really cannot search for specific enemies captured inside blood vessels. Your best bet is gonna be setting a price, say 40 cows for the item, and then searching for bosses that you require on vessels to complete the challenges. Having said that, this one is also a bit tough. Between terrible performance, a staple of this game, and having 3 thick enemies alongside a motherfucking guardian and a ritual is one hell of a challenge. In my recommendation, run maps with large spaces on them so that hopefully rituals don't spawn in awkward positions, especially the last one. And as another tip, you can die on rituals 1 to 3, but the 4th one, where everything is present, is where you cannot afford to die, portal out, or crash. So make sure that you can tackle this kind of content before committing to it. The next challenge is a relatively easy one, red maps with 8 mods. You can use a Val Orb to hopefully corrupt a map into an 8 modder, trade for them or find them on your mapping adventures. They aren't particularly difficult, but corrupted maps tend to roll unfavorable mods on them, so make sure that your build can tackle most mods without a sweat in order to have an easier time. For the next challenge we are gonna grind a bit. Encounters 6 requires delving, tower defending, syndicate stuff and metamorphing. In my case, delving and tower defending were my completions pending. This challenge in particular is not difficult, but it will be time consuming, especially if you ignore certain league mechanics. Delve in particular should be an easy time since delve to 50 isn't particularly hard, just a bit grindy. Blighted maps on the other hand can get a bit hectic. Personally, I recommend doing silo, since the layout tends to roll a literal hallway that goes up and down. With a build like Toxic Rain, you just gotta keep sweeping forwards and backwards for 5 minutes and complete this rather grindy step. Having said that, remember that Blight does get a little bit resource heavy if you are not clearing maps fast, so make sure that you are removing stuff quickly to avoid having to deal with crappy frame rates. The next challenge is Encounters 7, and this one is going to require brain power. The first 2 steps can be cleared by deleting the respective map bosses before they even move a finger. The other 2, the Conjurer of Bones and Doedri, are gonna be the challenging part. Mr. Bones over here needs you to be under Bone Royal while he is bleeding as he dies. The Bone Royal debuff comes from the spikes that he casts after he engages you on the Bone Circle. Be warned that sometimes the asshole doesn't cast the spikes after he cages you, and also be warned that those spikes hit really freaking hard. In my case, I had to use Ballista Totems with a chance to bleed to make him bleed while I patiently waited for his skelly dumbass to cast the spikes, and then I had to melt him before the bleed and the debuff expired. Now for Doedri, this one is simple. You gotta have 5 stacks of each debuff. These stacks are gained from the Cursed Totems casting an aura-like spell. You gotta kite Doedri around until you have 5 of each. Also be warned that the debuff will not run out until either the totems are dead or Doedri decides to cast her screams. And finally, for challenge number 36 we've got 2 options. Either you got super lucky during the delve grind that you found a boss and completed encounters 5 that way, or use socket craftable watchstones, which is what I am going to do in this video. This one can be traded for. You gotta socket 20 out of 24 possible watchstones. You can use either magic or unique watchstones as long as they are the types that the challenge asks for. I traded for the ones that I was missing, paying roughly 10 to 15 cows per watchstone. However, Drox was being a little shit, so I had to get rid of him in order to complete this one.
Hand of justice. Force of arms.
But once that was done, 36 has been achieved. With all honesty, these challenges are not particularly bad. Some of them are grindy, some of them are difficult, but all in all they should be doable. Granted, I expect you to come into this grind with a character that can tackle endgame content, mainly because some of these require a strong capable build. I'd say that if you can tackle Maven or any of her invitations without getting your shit kicked in, you'll have these challenges in the bag. Having said that, and as I said multiple times throughout the video, you will be spending currency on these challenges. Especially as we approach the last weeks or days of Ritual, the most expensive ones of them will get even more expensive. Things like the Twins fight, the bosses on Rituals, and hell, other stuff such as the Cortex or Maven fights keep getting expensive with each successive day. So if you want the hideout or even the character effect, you might wanna get to doing this before the leg is on its last legs. As for the reasons that we completed the challenges, I like the rewards this time around. The weapon effect is solid, the character effect is a bit weird, not gonna lie, though the hideout takes the cake, especially for bragging rights, you know, to further increase the hidden FOMO stat. Finally, I know that some of you probably wanted a more thorough or complete guide with more challenges on them, and that's partially on me. I should have recorded more of them, but sometimes these challenges are completed without really chasing after them. In the future, if I plan tackling more stuff like this, I now realize that I have to keep Shadowplay on 24/7. And with all of that said, that's gonna be it for me today. I know it's a bit different of a topic to be tackling right now, but hopefully you found it useful or entertaining. Thank you so much for watching, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll catch you again soon with more Path of Exile stuff. Take care, have a nice day, and peace out.